You are listening to New Vision, Old Ways, the podcast that explores timeless wisdom for the modern mind in a fun, relaxed, and most important, interactive way with you, the listener. I am your host, Tony Marinaccio, and let's get the episode started. Welcome, everyone, to episode 7 of the New Vision, Old Ways podcast. And this episode will be a start to a mini-series that will look at a few books that not only relate to what we have been talking about, but will also provide a different perspective on how we can improve our lives using the concepts already discussed in previous episodes, but add to them by providing modern day viewpoints and techniques that we all can use. In this episode, we will be talking about a book by an author named Joe Barnes called Escape the System. This is not a book review. Instead, I will dive into what the system and escaping the system really means and the ways we can live the life we want by following our dreams and passions instead of what rules the system wants us to live by. I love this subject, and I'm going to include a few examples from my own life and give you an idea of my story and how I'm trying to do exactly what we are talking about today. So let's get started with episode 7, Escaping the System. The obvious place to start is, what is the system and why do we need to escape it? The book defines the system as a belief system, a wide spectrum of ideas, opinions, and thoughts that define our reality. An invisible net that, if we are not aware, can influence our understanding of life. This creates boundaries where little seems possible, and we are conditioned into feeling that we are only able to do what is expected of us, not what our dreams and passions want us to do, for fear of ridicule, guilt, and anxiety over taking that big step out of your comfort zone. The system, in essence, comprises various societal structures, norms, and institutions that shape our lives, even without us realizing it. What I like about this book is that it doesn't encourage you to reject your faith or hate your parents or reject any formal education, but instead it helps you look at how any of these entities can force you to think in only certain ways. And by conditioning your brain, many of us fall into the trap of, well, I would love to do that, whatever that is, but I just don't have the time. I just don't have the energy. I just have too much responsibility, etc., etc. This way of thinking kills any passion or belief that we can accomplish our dreams. Even with a family, a job, an illness, or even just lack of knowledge of where to begin, this can all stop us dead in our tracks if we let it. Or we can recondition our brains, essentially rewire our brains, to think about ways we can still accomplish our dreams and live the life that will be rewarding and fulfilling while still having a family, practicing your faith, and working on a job that you hopefully love, or maybe even better yet, using your dreams and passion to earn a living instead of a job you can easily live without. So the question then becomes, how do we escape the system that many of us are trapped in? How do we find that passion we lost for our dreams, whatever they may be? Let's start with a quote from the author. He says, "You must focus on what brings success and not obsess over success itself. Belief in your abilities and the ability to raise your energy directed towards a dream created by your inspiration rather than the values that the system imposes on you is the greater power that creates all success." Easier said than done, right? We all have stuff going on in our lives that can easily redirect our energy and force us to not focus on our passions, but on our problems, our worries, our everyday responsibilities. This is where the brain can be rewired to help us deal with our everyday life, but also find ways to reorganize how we think and reprioritize our days in order to not only spend time needed to focus on what we would love to accomplish, but how to also make sure that we can focus on what activities will bring us the success we so desire. So then how do we rewire our brains to accept these new concepts and make them habits, not just far-fetched ideas? The answer, the way I see it, can be found in the previous episodes, specifically episodes 2 through 6, the concepts of Stoicism, Transcendentalism, mindfulness, the Tao Te Ching. These concepts, if utilized correctly, can all help with rewiring the mind. You might feel more comfortable with one of those concepts or take elements from each that fit your life and goals, essentially making your own way of escaping the system. By doing this, it can help us become more confident, more focused, and more mindful of what will make us happy, of what our dreams and desires really are, and also give us the determination to follow those dreams and, most importantly, escape the system. So, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "We become what we think about all day long." Shakespeare said, "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." Abraham Lincoln said, "People are about as happy as they make up their minds to be." Vincent Peale, the author of the famous book, The Power of Positive Thinking, said, "Change your thoughts and you change the world." Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as a man thinks in his heart, so is he." Our thoughts are powerful, whether we realize it or not. They play a profound role in shaping the direction of our lives. Using an example from my own life, when I was 19, my mother passed away from cancer, and it completely devastated me. For the next 6 months, I wallowed in grief, was failing out of a community college, and had absolutely no direction for my life or any idea of how to get a direction. Then, on a trip to see a friend in Arizona while he was at college, I was taking an early morning walk, and an overwhelming feeling of my mother came over me and stopped me dead in my tracks. And out of nowhere, I was promising my recently deceased mother that she was not going to have a loser son, and I was going to make something of myself. Somehow, I had no idea how, but I promised. So I started with the basics. I faced reality and realized why I was failing my classes and started changing what I could immediately. I had to take a full extra year to retake many classes I had, let's say, not done well in, and changed my approach of how to get my abilities to shine through and succeed. I did finally get into that next college that I wanted to attend, and I took a major and a minor, and none of those easy electives that many do to pad their GPA. I filled my electives with psychology, criminal justice, marketing, etc. I just really pushed myself and ended up on the dean's list. This from a guy who 3 years previous was failing out of a community college. I did it by focusing all my attention on what was needed to succeed, not wasting my time on doubt and self-pity. Remember, what you think, you become. I never dreamed I'd be working in the auto business, which led to the banking and the wireless business, all from an overwhelming feeling I had on a street in Arizona when I was 19. The point is, listen to your inner voice. That voice can change your world. Being mindful of what your inner voice is telling you and focusing your efforts on your dreams instead of what society is telling you to focus on will separate you from the pack and allow you to transcend the barriers that could stop you from even trying. As the author Joe Barnes points out, you have to have a strong belief system that these dreams are in fact obtainable. Belief is the heart and soul of success. Many people have had only their belief that things would work out in their favor, even while failing over and over again. The system will tell you to quit. It will tell you that you are being foolish, and just go to work. Just pay your bills and be happy that you can at least do that. Maybe take a vacation once in a while and put those stupid dreams aside. That should be enough. And for some, maybe that is enough. And that's okay too. But for many people like me that have that gut feeling that that way of life is not enough, realizing your dreams is paramount to your happiness. But as we all know, even many of those people sacrifice their dreams for what they think is a greater good and push their dreams aside and live a very unfulfilled life. But the ones that forge ahead, even when failing, are doing so by believing and focusing on what will make them succeed. And you know that your mindset is changing when you realize that even in the difficult moments, you are still excited to be doing the work that is leading to making those dreams come true. And don't be afraid if those dreams change as you go along. When I was thinking initially about doing a podcast, I had a completely different idea of what I wanted to talk about. But because of my job in banking, I had to scrap that initial idea as it would have conflicted with my occupation. I was a bit frustrated, but because of my interest in improving my life and my desire to help others do the same, I stumbled onto the new vision, old ways concept. And surprisingly, it took off. And well, here we are. The point is, be flexible enough to accept a change in course if absolutely needed. It may lead to or it may lead into an even better path that you originally thought possible. I too have allowed myself to be a victim of the system many times in my life. It's an easy trap to fall into. The reason, as the author explains, there is a power struggle, the struggle of the known world as we are conditioned to see it, and how the system wants you to believe that your circumstances will determine your future versus the world that if we deny the conditioning our brain has been forced to accept, we could free ourselves from the system's expectations and concentrate on what's truly important to us, what our inner voice is begging us to act upon. Essentially, channeling your thoughts towards success. Alter your beliefs so that anything is possible and raise your energy so that you feel great. I'll say that last part again. Alter your beliefs so anything is possible and raise your energy so that you feel great. The author hits on a great point here. Over a year ago, I can honestly say I physically felt the worst I have ever felt in my life. My diet was terrible. My body ached from head to toe. That, of course, affected my mood and my outlook on life. But as what happened to me when I was 19, a similar thing happened to me a year ago in Tennessee. While I was on vacation, I realized just how low I was sinking, and something had to change. I started to research the issues I was having and sought out a more holistic approach to my health. And after a little trial and error, I found some supplements that actually make a huge difference in how I feel. That, along with some dietary changes and exercise, have eliminated the chronic aches and pains, almost completely eliminating over-the-counter meds. So needless to say, I feel completely better both physically and mentally. I eliminated the roadblock to my feeling creative, and this opened the door to feel excited again and follow a passion of mine to start this podcast. Regardless of how anyone felt about me doing so, I felt comfortable ignoring the system and focusing on what was important to me, regardless of the outcome of this. But it all had to start with how I was feeling, and I had to make those changes in order to move forward. If I didn't do that, well, I hate to think about what I'd feel like today, but not a pleasant thought. So feeling better about ourselves is paramount to being able to listen to our inner voice and getting excited about the journey we embark on and to follow that dream we want so bad. Using the techniques that I spoke about in the previous 5 episodes, those can help us with both the mental and the physical well-being that we all need. Escaping the system, to me, can be a gradual thing. Assess how you are feeling and make healthy choices to correct as much as you can. Allow yourself to have those dreams again, whatever they are, and get excited about acting on them. Concentrate on what you need to do to make the journey possible. Don't crush those dreams by only concentrating on the success, but on the journey to get there. Success will happen if you keep an open mind, flex with the changes that come your way, and as the book points out, overcome the system that tells you you can't. Recondition your brain to focus on the fact that anything is possible if you want it bad enough and are strong enough to ignore the pulls of the system's expectations. A big part of a strong belief system is the ability to let go. Let go of what? This will be different for all of us. But for me, it was letting go of the past failures in my life, letting go of the daily fear of what bad thing is going to happen next, and maybe most important, letting go of the roadblocks my mind constantly throws at me by utilizing meditation and clearing my mind of those thoughts on a daily basis and replacing them with a belief that, what my passions are obtainable. And if I concentrate on what will make them happen, not on what will go wrong. And that simple concept can change your life forever. It can help you escape the system that forces you to find a reason why you shouldn't live the life you desire. There are many self-help books out there, and I'm not certainly saying that they don't help, but time and time again, I go back to the concepts I spoke about in previous episodes. I take a few things from all of them and develop my own way to escape the system. It's okay to make your own rules for this. That, to me, is a big point of escaping the system that forces you to follow all those unwritten rules. It's your life. It's never too late. The world needs good people to accomplish good things, and too many of us are stopped by the threats of the ones that think they control us, like guilt us and force us to follow the rules by making you feel that if you don't, you will be called out and ostracized for failing to do so. A favorite line of mine is, I've heard so many times in so many different circumstances, is don't forget where you came from. I'm sure we have all heard that in one way or another. Anyone who wants you to believe that if you embark on the path that you want to, that somehow means you are forgetting your friends and your family, and you should feel guilty about that, is saying that for one reason: they don't have the guts to do what you are doing. So instead of supporting you, they want to guilt you into not following your heart and staying right where they are in their comfort zone to make them feel better that you didn't make it either. You see this also with so many playing the race card to get what they want. It's a guilt system designed to force you to comply with their demands or risk being called a racist. I and most other people, especially your regular average American, are not racist at heart. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but when someone feels they are not getting what they want and the only option they think is to play the race card, it's a pathetic way for them to control you and get what they want. But fear not, I have always and will always feel that the good always overpowers evil. And we should never give in to the weak-minded that just yell and scream the loudest, because in most cases, if we allow the system to win, we are led down a terrible path that makes everything worse. So think for yourself. Do not let societal pressures distort your thinking. Just because a way of thinking is seemingly popular with some doesn't mean it's right. Being your own person can be difficult at times, but understanding that is half the battle. Knowing that you may alienate a few people along the way that don't understand or support your journey may happen, but the ones that do support you and the ones that will come into your life that will also support you because of your new outlook on life will give you the support system you need to succeed. I also believe that you are what you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with negative people, people that have no desire to improve, people that want you to stay right where you are, will only make sure you don't succeed. This may all sound a bit harsh to some, but if you truly believe in your heart that you want to live out your passions, then you need to do whatever you can to surround yourself with the people that will love you and help you on your journey. Even if it's just to say a positive thing here and there, that can make a big difference. And now that you have decided to escape the system and follow your dreams, you have to make sure that you give it all you can. This is where you need that energy to forge ahead by making sure your mind and body are right. It's an important decision you have made. So failure is not an option. Even if you do fail over and over again, remember, it's the excitement of the journey to succeed that you need to concentrate on. The success will take care of itself. If you hit a roadblock, make adjustments. If you see a path forward that wasn't in your initial plan, be flexible enough to adjust to that new path. And that could be where it all comes together. So let go of the fear and replace it with belief that all things are possible. Remember, the system that we are all conditioned to abide by will do anything and everything to stop you. But using the techniques that we discuss on this podcast, you will have the strength to overcome the system and live the life that you want. Not what the government wants, not what the school wants, even not what your family or friends want. You could do this. It's a mindset, and together we can all get there. I hope you have enjoyed the discussion on Joe Barnes's book, Escape the System. It is a book I thoroughly enjoyed, and I encourage you to read, but what do you think? And here is where to get a hold of us and to let us know, your thoughts on these subjects and more. These are in the show notes, but as always, here they are. You can email us at newvisionoldways@gmail.com. You can find us on what was Twitter, now X, at newvisionoldway. There's no S at the end of that one. It's at New Vision Old Way. And you can find us on Facebook. It's usually New Vision space Old Ways podcast, and you should easily be able to find us. And as a reminder, these are new platforms for us still, and expanding all the time. So we need your help to get the flow going with the community. And last but not least, if you could do me a huge favor and subscribe to us, like us, follow us, leave us a review on whatever platform you can find us on, that would be so appreciated. That will also help secure guests that we will be booking in the future. So I can't wait to get your input on this. And I also can't wait until we get together for the next episode of New Vision, Old Ways. And until then, be safe, be cool to each other, and let's change the world.